Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. It's time now to review headlines on today's newspapers with the Ombudsman of This Day and Arise Media Group and This Day Newspaper Limited's Group Executive Director, Kekere-Ekun, or you like to call him in-house, Mr. KK. So happy to have you here with us this morning.
I'm pleased to be here too.
Welcome to the show, Mr. KK.
We miss Steve today.
Yes, we do. And
he's gone for the Guild conference in Yenagoa.
Yes.
All right, then.
You want to start with This Day?
Oh, I thought you were kicking it off.
Oh, no. There you go.
All right, then. I think we actually are going to need some more time because we actually don't have that on
the screen.
On the screen yet. Yes, okay. Fantastic. Well, let's kick off with Chief Justice Kekere-Ekun, who says the few judges are tarnishing the image of the judiciary. The story above the headline story there also reads, WTODG Okonjo-Iweala confirmed as sole candidate for second term as deadline for nomination ends. And then just over the masthead there, Oyedele says businesses will suffer, economy would retrogress if states collect VAT. And just there on the just above the mast as well, First Lady says Nigeria can't afford to be left out of a global digital village. Mr. KK, I think the first story there that really catches my eye there is what the Chief Justice Kekere-Ekun is saying about the fact that there are certain judges, maybe a few, that are tarnishing the image of the judiciary as it stands. Mr. KK, over to you.
Thank you. I think it's important to say that the Chief Justice Kekere-Ekun was not speaking from the bench. The occasion was a public discourse on the theme of ethics, morality, and the law. And it was convened to celebrate the 30th anniversary of an organization called Movement for Islamic Culture and Awareness, MICA, and also to celebrate the elevation of Justice Abib Adewale Abiru to the Supreme Court. It was interesting that occasion provided the opportunity to examine this intersection between morality and the law. And the frankness of Chief Justice Kekere-Ekun should be noted, that while was actually in defense of the judiciary, that in the main, that by and large, you have hardworking, honest, intelligent, principled, judges, working. But then you have some, few, to use our word, few bad eggs, who are giving the judiciary a bad name, So that moment of introspection, of, self-criticism is something that, should be applauded. And also, it's also significant too, because it's not often that the judiciary, especially the judges, are able to defend themselves, but if anybody assailing the judiciary for what they perceive as corruption and misdemeanor within it. But I think this point that Chief Justice Kekere-Ekun is making should be noted, that the mere fact that you have in a profession in judiciary some bad eggs, giving it a bad name does not mean, does not justify, just writing off the whole judiciary as a
judicial system.
The whole judicial system. I think that is a point that should be made. And of course, on that occasion too, you have other speakers, eminent lawyers. The Attorney General also, spoke. Professor Konyisola Ajayi, SAN, who, by the way, is a reverend gentleman, was also, to give the Christian perspective. You have. Is
that the Olaniwan Ajayi?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the senior advocate.
Yes.
Emir of Kano, Sanusi Lamine Sanusi, also challenged, the judiciary that, in everything they do, they should always, put the moral question,
justice with the fear of God,
into play. And also, a senior advocate, Wale Babalaki, also put there. So it was quite, an eminent occasion, for reflection on the state of judiciary, The other story, which I think also should interest us, is the nomination of Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala,
Yes.
as it's now been confirmed as the sole candidate. If he were to be a political party matter, you just say that he's gone unopposed. But in the system, I think the process, still has to be concluded before we can confirm that he's already secured the second time.
I was going to say, at least she's coming in, hopefully, before Trump, because the WTO elections were moved up 2 months and people were making allegations that maybe they were trying to prevent another showdown like the one that she had to face with Trump opposing her nomination in 2020.
I agree with you.
You agree with that?
But then also true that the challenges that she will face should be is also worthy of reflection, because coming in as the chief executive officer of the WTO in an age where protectionism is on the rise. With the coming of Trump, you are going to have an upsurge in that protectionist upsurge, and what the consequences will be, for free trade, as as capitalists will say, that what you need, for the economy to ensure free trade, but when you look at the doctrine, or the protectionism, you are putting a light to it that you can for the interests of their respective countries, that free trade perhaps, will have to be, to be moderated. So, but as the international technocrat that she is, it will be our job now to be able to moderate, things between the advocates of protectionism and those who are still in the pursuit of free trade. So, in all we can do is to wish our sister, the best of luck.
Definitely. There was a particular story that I missed there, still on the cover of this day. New terrorist group kills 15 in fresh attack in Kebbi. And what we're hearing is that this newly active armed terror group operating in Sokoto and Kebbi states are known as Laku Rawa attacked Memera town in the Oge local government area of Kebbi state, killing at least 15 people.
Absolutely, Shaitan. That is bad news, and that is worrisome. But then, can we say that the good news is that the defense and security authorities are actually up to the task, and they are already. It was announced, formally, by the defense headquarters, and already they are, moving against the new group, So we should encourage them, to nip it in the mud, as it were.
Okay, I have a question for you about this new terror group, because earlier on this year we were talking about the crisis with Niger and Mali and ECOWAS, and we're hearing that a lot of members of this terror group, according to our defense structure, is that they've come down from Niger after the coup in Niger, and some of them are even coming from Mali. Do you think we're going to see more of this spread of terror coming down, from this Sahel region and the West African region? Is this something you think we should be worried about going forward?
Yeah, I think that's a legitimate fear, really, Adesua. If you remember, at the when the crisis in Niger started with the coup, that was why some people who have strategic insights into the issue, at the diplomatic level, were preaching a diplomatic approach, to solve the problem. Because, before the coup, there was this, military cooperation between Nigeria and Niger and, some other countries in Sahel, and that had really helped in keeping, the terrorists, at bay, But with the breakdown, as it were, relations because of the coup and the position of ECOWAS, sanctioning, the new regime, I think that military cooperation, has suffered. And what we're having now is the consequence of it, I think this is a wake-up call that there is need to look, beyond whatever issue or principle is involved, in the course of the coup, and look at the strategic implication, of having, a very good relationship with our neighbors, especially Niger in this instance.
All right, then let's see if we can take This Day Style. And on the cover of This Day Style this Sunday is a runway moment, I believe, from the recently concluded Lagos Fashion Week. In the Ember season is when we have a lot of, cultural events in fashion, with music, with art. What just concluded was the Lagos Fashion Week. And I think starting today, actually, or starting yesterday, was a GT Fashion Week, and then Arise Fashion Week comes up and just ties it all in. The editor's notes there, the cover note there reads, as fashion season wraps up, Lagos Fashion Week leaves us with an exhilarating sense of what's to come. This year's event was more than just a showcase. It was a celebration of growth, creativity, and independence within the Nigerian fashion industry. From the emergence of new designers to vibrant off-site shows that signified a new wave of self-reliance, this season offered the most captivating display yet. Mr. Keke, what do you think about these pieces on the cover of This Day Style? Imade Duso, they're owned by, I think, Dami Osude, who is a fantastic, renowned fashion designer. Fashion as it affects the creative economy. Mr. Keke.
Yes, like the editor of This Day Style has said, the season is here, and we're going to have, on display, the various pieces of creativity, in that sector, So I think it's a moment, to look up to. Yeah.
Well, if we take the Sunday Tribune quickly before we leave this morning, the Sunday Tribune, growing hardship, call for Nigeria's restructuring intensifies. Movement proposes 10-region arrangement, says 99% of Nigerians, no country becoming a disaster. And that is on page 2, and that's the headline on the Tribune. And we were talking about restructuring earlier with our first guest there. And the other stories, the story we took earlier about the new terror group, as 15 killed as Lukurawa terror group residents clash in Kebbi. Tinubu cautions graduates on Japa. Now that is above the masthead. And the story at the bottom of the window, General Tarid Lagbaja, community threatens to invoke spirits. Says death not ordinary, requests for his corpse. Okay, which one would you want to take there?
Okay, quite a number of stories there. If you check the lead story of the Tribune, on restructuring, like I was saying, just like I was saying in the earlier in the segment, and an earlier segment of the show, I think it's understandable. I think the National Assembly is in the process of a constitutional review. So all these, suggestions, I hope that it will be taken into consideration, except that part of the advocacy, for restructuring is that what is needed is beyond what the National Assembly is embarking upon, and that is where the problem lies, Because, for instance, if you talking of regionalism, then to imagine that you will, return into regionalism in an age where even there are some, at the same time, that's how the contradiction lies. People are actually advocating for more state creations. More state creation.
I said earlier, Anioma State.
Anioma State, Ijebu State, and that you are. So you have that in the whole discourse, this contradiction, should be noted. But the point, like you said, you reminded a guest, in the earlier segment of the show, is that even already some restructuring is already has already taken place, in legal way, and which advantage is not taken, note of. For instance, in the last days of Buhari, some amendments were made into the law, more or less, giving states, to legislate and to make laws and create, bodies, in some sectors, especially the power sector, even the railway, all these things are there. Yeah. So when you are talking of decentralization of power, what have we done, even with the powers already, decentralized? So I think this is very important, in the debate. And if you will, there's story quickly, to mention on the front page of this day, and I think you have it in other paper, and that is former President Olusegun Obasanjo saying that it's no more a party man. It does not belong to any party. It's now a statesman. Now, that is debatable. That is debatable because you see that since 2007, when he left office, in every election he has taken clearly partisan position, either opposing a particular candidate and president. But then the real story was that he was speaking on a very important occasion, and that was the 80th birthday of Chief Onyema Ugochukwu, who, by the way, an eminent journalist, he was the first executive chairman. I mean, he was the first chairman, of the NDDC, the Niger Delta Development Commission, and I think at a point, he also got into politics. So it's an opportunity to say happy birthday to
Thank you.
Distinguished Nigerian. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. KK. We always appreciate having you here on the morning show, and hopefully see you next week.
Yes,
well, that brings us to the end of the morning show today. Thank you for watching. I am Shaiton Atigari.
Well, I'm Adeso Agiwal-Sagi, and from our entire team here in Lagos, Nigeria, enjoy the rest of your morning and, of course, the rest of your day. Goodbye.